Akira listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast, live from Japan. This time, I'm actually not at the Kokugikan. I am in Fukushima City, a little bit north of Tokyo. Spent the last 2 days at the Kokugikan Stadium. What a great atmosphere. If you get a chance to come to Japan, it is a fantastic experience. If you're lucky enough to get to watch the box seats that you sit in, that I sat in for 2 days, look, they do require a little bit of flexibility, and they are not built for large Western frames. They're built for smaller Japanese frames. So you do sit on the floor all day on a cushion. That if that doesn't bother you, it is a fantastic position to watch the sumo. Currently, I'm sitting in a little hotel, one of the Route Inn hotels in Fukushima City, and just arrived. It's been a bit of a day of travel, so I haven't had time to upload an episode since last night. I just turned on the TV. NHK has the Juryo on, which is fantastic. Just watch, I think Toki Hayate in Juryo took a win. I am a bit of a fan of Toki Hayate. With a little bit of calmness and a bit more balance, he'll be a very successful wrestler. A little bit in the Enho style, I think, or Endo and Enho, both very similar. Anyway, so we need to move on to days 2 and 3 of the Sumo Grand Sumo Tournament. That being, we need to discuss day 3 and that fight. Kokugikan and Tobizaru, it was the last fight of the night. They both got a big hit at the Tachi. There was a big struggle for dominance, both looking for upper body grips, exchanging arms, trying to get a bit of dominance. Tobizaru ended up twisting down and got himself into a bit of a funny position, got his head down up under Kokugikan's armpit as he twisted. Not sure what he was trying to do there, but anyway, Kokugikan twisted Tobizaru, but in the meantime, Tobizaru just at that moment had gotten a strand of Kokugikan's belt with his right hand, while his left arm was locked up high and locked by Kokugikan. Tobizaru turned him over, trying for the Watanage underhand belt throw, using his hip as leverage, caused Kokugikan to go down face first, right at the bales. And he touched, look, this happened really fast, touched both arms outside the ring as Tobizaru maintained his feet on the Tawara bales, or just inside the Tawara bales, as Kokugikan went down. Now, live, I would have said it was Tobizaru's fight. I think you'll find the crowd, particularly those who are close to where he went down, who's on the opposite side of the ring. If you go to my Instagram, you will see the photo that I posted today, which is actually my photo from the other side on the box seat. Of the critical moment, the crowd cheered when Kokugikan went down and Tobizaru went out right at that moment. You could hear the expectation as they waited for a mono-e while the wrestlers moved to their positions back up in the ring after the fight. But the silence and the shock became even more deafening as the crowd and Tobizaru realized that the Gyoji's fan went to Kokugikan and the judges were making no moves. Now, there are about 3 rounds of sponsor flags going around the ring, so it was a very large stack of sponsor win envelopes. And it stayed without the Shimpan judges, 5 judges that sit around outside the ring. They didn't move. They were very unmoved, and that large stack of envelopes and the white dot for the win went to the Ozeki, giving him 3 wins. It's clear there is disagreement as to who won the fight. If you look at any sort of social media, you will see that pretty much they believe that Tobizaru was robbed. Now, remember, it is the Gyoji's last tournament before he retires, Shinosuke. I think if we followed his time over the last year or so, he's made a few blunders, I think is perhaps the best way to say, getting in the way of wrestlers, losing his slippers, making a few wrong calls. So, look, you know, I'm a little bit easier on a judge who is a referee who is seeing it live than I am on judges who have access to a replay. So obviously there's a little bit of controversy. The JSA chairman, Hokaku, has responded by saying that Korizakura had won the bout as he was calm and balanced and pressured Tobizaru to go out. But he also said that he believed Tobizaru stepped out first. I think the JSA chairman, he might need a replay, he might need some new glasses, and perhaps he needs a little bit of new integrity as the one he appears to have appears non-functional. The chief Shimpan Kokano of Chiyonofuji's Yokozuna stable of history says that Tobizaru lost because he was shinatai, or dead body. Now, if you watch the replay and the live action, you look at the images of the critical moment, including mine on Instagram and X on Twitter, you'll see that Tobizaru was anything but shinatai. He clearly had a foot inside at the bails as Korizakura had touched down his arms. He was still standing, and to me, he had more control, certainly, than the Ozeki Korizakura. So why no mono E? Well, look, there was a suggestion that even if you watch the actual video replay, that perhaps Tobizaru's foot dragged across the top of the foot across the Tawara bail, but no one certainly none of the executives have made such a claim. So are we butting up against tradition? Are we butting against favoritism towards a Japanese Ozeki who they desperately want to be a Yokozuna to replace the ailing and very injured Terunofuji? Or do we just not understand sumo? Look, I think the multiple excuses now flowing from senior JSA judges and executives and other Oyakata, all changing and contradicting each other about why Korizakura won it, would suggest that that situation is perhaps is an element of truth there in the terms that perhaps there's a little bit of favoritism. You see, the JSA is seeking someone to be a new Yokozuna. They want to replace Terunofuji, and they are desperate for a Japanese Yokozuna at that. I think it galls them a little bit that the greatest Yokozuna they've ever had, the most winning one, Hakuho, is Mongolian. Look, for Tobizaru's view, he looks stunned to have lost. He returned to his position on the dohyo and then accepted and moved off and went to the change rooms, as is the want for a losing wrestler. Rumour is that I've heard that he expressed his displeasure quite loudly in the change rooms. There was a bit of yelling, apparently, out of the view of the public. The next day in the media, Tobizaru even said that he didn't feel like he lost that match. Now, that's a sad situation where the review system with replays and multiple judges just wasn't used. That's probably the most disappointing bit of all this. As I've said, all judges make mistakes, and Shinosuke's made a few, but the 5 judges not to intervene or even check the decision via replay, to me, and I think most others, smacks of something else. It's not a fairer system. It's just, it goes to the integrity of the sport. So, the problem is there is no further system. Tobizaru has lost, Korizakura has won, and Sumo, unfortunately, in my view, gets a black eye for that one. We watch sport, we want it to be fair, but from my point of view, this was anything but, and that's a shame. So, on to the other matches, day 2 and 3. We'll do a little highlight there. The highlight match for me from day 2, watching it, and certainly watching it live, was Kirishima and Atami Fuji. Kirishima faced Atami Fuji on day 2. He got a really good Shitatanage win. Now, they called it a Shitatanage, but look, to be honest, you might as well call it a spinning top win. Kirishima got onto the belt fast on Atami Fuji, held the right-handed grip on his belt like a vice, and Atami Fuji worked hard to use that grip in his arm that he held almost in the Kimadashi style, as in holding both arms like Terunofuji does. He was trying for the Kotanage throw. So they struggled hard as Kirishima. He refused to let go of that belt. Atami was fully committed, and I think Kirishima knew that he was fully committed. He released it just at the same time as he twisted hard to get his arm out from Atami Fuji. He allowed Atami Fuji to go face down hard as he was fully committed to it, and Kirishima did a full 360-degree revolution, spun around behind him, Look, it was a well executed move if he meant it, and I feel that it was intentional. To me, that was a pretty good win. Kirishima got himself another fairly easy win over Takanosho on day 3. He tried a bit of a half a henker, I think is probably the way I could call it. Wasn't a full henker, but he used the sideways movement, got a side belt grip on Takanosho. Takanosho recovered, but as they went across the ring, Kirishima helped him out and down. Wata Dashinage, open belt throw, relatively easy win for Kirishima there. So look, he's 3-0 up to day 3, so that's pretty good for him. Good to see him back in a bit of form. Wakamoto Haru, after all of his bad luck of late, he got himself a Fusen win over former Ozeki Takakeisho, now Sekiwake Karaban. Because we found out yesterday that Takakeisho is now out of the Akibasho, his Kyujo, his neck again being the culprit. That will see him fall from Ozeki now. He is unlikely to make those 10 wins unless he actually comes back today, which I haven't seen, and wins the rest and every match. That is not likely. I would expect, like I said previously, if he didn't make the 10 wins, I'd expect an announcement before the next tournament, I feel. Hoshoryu got himself a dominant win over Daisho on day 2, got up under Daisho's arms, didn't give him a chance to start threshing at all. Yorakiri is the call there. Daisho got himself a fairly dominant win over Mitakayumi on day 3, got his patented threshing going. Mitakayumi, he just couldn't keep it up. That being said, seeing it live, I thought Daisho was threshing just like he was doing the Sapari thrusting, maybe just a fraction slower. Might be a little bit injured, who knows. Anyway, day 3, Hoshoryu, he faced Atami Fuji. This was a good fight. Hoshoryu, he tried hard to get the belt off the Tachiai. He ended up with the left outside belt grip on the inside and on the inside right. They struggled in the middle for a little bit. Atami Fuji had a left outside belt and a right upper body grip, used his weight to pump Hoshoryu back to the bales and over Yorakiri. Hoshoryu, I could see the look on his face from where I was sitting, and he knew he had been bested there. He gets that wry smile when he loses a match. That was interesting for me. Also interesting was about between Midori Fuji and Ichi Yamamoto. Like I've said before, if Ichi Yamamoto doesn't complete with his big drive off the Tachiai, he just doesn't seem to have a backup plan. Now, I've made a similar criticism of Midori Fuji, but he at least usually has something else he can try. He might try it over again a few times, but he did it tonight and got himself a win. That's his first win over Ichi Yamamoto. So good one there. Tamawashi, the Rock, the Mountain, he deserves a mention. He is now the sole leader of consecutive appearances of 1,631 bouts in a row. That is just incredible. That is over 20 years without going injured. As I sit here looking at NHK, I can see the top division Makuuchi wrestlers all coming in for the opening ceremony. There is Hoshoryu, and the Gyoji has just gone up onto the ring. Should be a good day. Takayasu, I think he might be a bit injured. I'll keep an eye out on the guys as they wore the rikishi as they flow up into the ring. I'd be surprised if he turns up today because he did look like he just gave up mid-fight last night, and that normally happens when someone is injured. That leaves Korizakura, Onosato, Kirishima, Shodai, Endo, and Sadanumi all on 3 wins. Those without a win so far, Shonanumi, which kind of surprises me. Big man. He's certainly much larger than a lot of the guys. And Takakeisho, obviously, who went Kyujo on day 3. So that's it for me at the Kokugikan. As I've said, I'm up in Fukushima City now. I'll be heading up towards the northern end of Japan and further up to Hokkaido later in the week. I'm off to the Wakamoto Haru Wakatakakage Wakatakamoto's father's place tonight to try some chanko nabe at his restaurant. That's the meal that the wrestlers prefer to eat. High protein, high calorie meal. If I keep eating them, I will be the size of Aoyama. So join me again later as I report on the tournament as I move through. It should be an interesting affair. I hope you get to see some of it, if not in live on one of the streams, if you get to see the highlights package later. Thanks for joining me. Hakio listeners, let's learn sumo.